In what ways does your media product use, develop or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? My media product consists of a front page, contents page and a double page spread. I feel that all three of these pages are conventional as they all follow specific connotations of a media music magazine. My front page follows a specific house style and also follows the three-colour rule of red, white and black. I feel the use of these colours give a simplicity look to my front page and doesn't overdo it very much, which is another feature I've noticed on other hip-hop music magazines, is that they overpower the front page. In my planning, I analyse Vibe's front cover page, and that also has a particular house style. I have followed conventions here, trying to make my front page look as real as possible. I noticed that the masthead on my front page is also the biggest font on my front page, which again follows specific codes and conventions of a hip-hop magazine. Another major convention is the main image. Again, I have followed conventions because this is the biggest image on the page, a long shot with the image creating eye contact with the audience. Vibes uses Chris Brown, who is looking directly at the camera and creating eye contact with the audience. The mise-en-scène of my main image is also very similar to magazines which I analysed, and I have followed conventions here. Source's front page has two guys looking directly at the camera, with the bling watches, rings and the cap. I tried to copy the style, so be sure I attract the hip-hop market, and my main image is wearing low jeans, a cap, and is also pouncing at the camera. Looking back at the hip-hop magazines which I analysed, their front cover image was taken as the medium long shot. Here I have challenged conventions as my main image is captured as a long shot. I did this so my magazine can look different and unique in its own way, and not just a copied version. The masthead on my contents page has used conventions of real media music magazines. This is because the positive lettering has been ordered in the same way that Vibe magazine ordered their letters, with them split up in the big bold impact font. This gives the contents page a funky effect and some style. The position of the image is also being done to look like Vibe's contents page, so again I've used conventions. My main image on the contents page is replaced directly on the left hand side like Vibe's was. The double page spread is an interview with a hip-hop artist whom is shown on the main image of the front cover. The storyline on the page is also again shown on the double page spread, linking the stories together and letting the reader know what they are. The body's text is represented in columns where again I have used conventions because most hip-hop magazines which consist of articles or interviews on the double page spread are set in columns positioned in the same way. How does your media product represent particular social groups? In comparison to my planning, for example looking at Source's front page, I can see that the main image is represented negatively. Due to the tattoos, the bling watches, the dirty look they are given to the camera, their black clothing which represents a mystery, the magazine is looking to attract a younger, more sociable audience. As my magazine is a hip-hop magazine, I would want to do the same. However, whilst analysing hip-hop magazine, they are looking to attract a more broad audience, as both the people in the images are smiling, the colours are bright and attractive, and there's evidence due to their excess writing on the front page that is looking to attract a broad audience, boys and girls of all ages. As my magazine is created to fit more like Source's, it's not as targeted to one specific audience as much as Source's because magazines such as The Source and XXL which focus more narrowly on rap music, whereas my magazine is more of a hip-hop style. The background on my front page is a graffiti wall which I took whilst in Manchester. I feel that my use of bright red colours and not just black and white will attract young boys and girls who are into the music genre. My front page is made to look very bright in comparison to the others as this is the most important page when wanting to target a particular demographic. However, my contents page is slightly similar. The image on my contents page is not represented negatively and looks quite young. Due to the mise-en-scène, she is wearing a pair of trainers to give the hip-hop effect. The words featuring and reviews on my contents page is also represented as quite feminine due to the tight-fitting clothes and the nail varnish. Younger boys may be more of a fan when seeing the front page as the image is one that younger boys can sometimes look up to it. However, my magazine's target demographic is predominantly younger, urban followers of hip-hop culture. All of my images throughout my magazine are all of predominant Asian ethnicity. However, throughout my planning, the magazines have used images of an Afro-Caribbean ethnicity. What kind of media institution might distribute your media product and why? As Hip Hop's magazine is totally different to mine, a more gossipy female kind of magazine, like a copy of Hello, I don't think this institution would want to distribute my product because the type of magazine I've tried to create is very different. I think the most suited institution for my media product would be Vibe magazine. They could distribute my magazine and could work quite well. I feel I've produced a very similar product to Vibes through my front page, contents and my double page spread. The use of bright colours, big images are always I have tried to follow media conventions, and this is why I think that they would be most suitable. Vibe was purchased by the private investment fund Intermedia Partners and is now issued quarterly with double covers with a larger online presence, aided by the Vibe Lifestyle Network, a group of entertainment and music websites under the Vibe brand. I feel that this would be very suitable for my magazine. The Source is a United States-based monthly magazine covering hip-hop music, politics and culture, founded in 1988. The Source was founded as a newsletter in 1988. The Source was started originally by David Mays and John Schechter while they both attended Harvard University in Cambridge. However, I don't think this would be suitable as Vibe follows my media product well.
Who would be the audience for your media product? Just like Source and Vibes magazine is aimed towards a younger demographic, my hip-hop based music magazine is also targeted towards a younger demographic. The use of bright colours throughout my pages, images and big bold letters indicates that it is targeted towards a younger audience. The interview on my double page spread with Puff Money would be something which is mostly targeted towards a younger demographic, as they would be most likely to read it, as Puff Money associates himself with younger people. The graffiti wall on my front page was taken in Manchester, where some readers will recognise the graffiti wall. The area in which the wall is taken is a place where younger kids tend to hang out, which is another reason how I've tried to target a younger demographic. To address my audience, I had to use specific typographies, colours, images, sizes and colour schemes and types of text, etc. I tried to use bright colours throughout my pages to keep the younger audience attracted. I use a red colour scheme throughout my front page, contents page and double page spread. This kept the colour flow going throughout. My main image on the front page is also wearing a red jacket. The mise-en-scène on my front page was well thought out to make sure it would attract my teenage audience. The graffiti wall in the background of my main image is also bright and colourful and what the younger audience would expect. From my questionnaire results, I found that my audience would prefer bright colours, so this made me confident. Throughout the process of constructing this product, I have learnt new skills on Photoshop. I had used some of these tools before, but this project was a lot more challenging, so I had the chance to develop and learn a lot of new tools which I had not used before. I learned about the blending options you can use on letters, the magnetic lasso tool which I never was too sure on before. This project was quite heavy weighted and required a high level knowledge of Photoshop, which I think towards the end I started to develop and feel a lot more comfortable. Looking back at your preliminary task, what do you feel you have learned in the progression from it to the full product? Looking back at how I was when I started, I feel like I've come a lot more stronger on using Photoshop. I've learned a lot of new skills whilst doing the preliminary task, and I feel this is shown on my front page, contents page and double page spread. The ordering of my date issue number on my front page compared to the one I did on my preliminary task is a lot more ordered and well thought out, positioned in a lot better place and looks a lot more tidy. I learned how to edit the colours, effects and make my product look as real as possible. Photoshop skills are probably the biggest thing I learned during this media project, and I feel I've come a long way in it. Photoshop skills has the potential to make my magazine look very real, very realistic, which I feel I've used to the best of my ability. I feel I also learned how to add background images to my magazine whilst keeping letters colouring visible and making sure the colours do look to the best that I can. The shadow on letterings throughout my pages is another skill which I have developed and had an impact on the quality of my work. I also managed to differentiate the colours between my storyline covers and font sizes of the typography. Overall, I feel I've learned a lot through this project, mainly my Photoshop skills which have helped me a lot to make sure my product looks real.